Well, let's find out a little bit more about what is going on with recruitment. So, Phillipe Clement has spoken to the media as regards recruitment of, players in terms of bringing in those young players, bringing in those experienced players as well. So, what's going on? What is going on? I know a lot of fans out there are concerned about the fact that at the moment we are only bringing in those young players, Cortez and Ciala, Igman, for example, Barron, etc. And there's not a great deal of experience coming through the door, especially as we've lost Barisic, Lundstrom, both of those, Jack, all experience heading out the door. Roof, McLaughlin as well. And there's possibility, obviously, that Tav, Goldson could leave. Lawrence has also been spoken about as leaving. So all very experienced professionals. There's been a lot of concerns, as regards what is going to happen with those experienced players. Now, we'll look a bit more into this in tomorrow morning's video, but I just wanted to sort of bring you an update of what Clement had said. This is what he said when he spoke to the media. He said it was easier now to get the young players in, but the rest of the transfer window, there will also be experience coming in. It was important to find these young talents, and we have found exciting talents for the future of the club to be ready to play some minutes in the beginning, but to grow in the next couple of years at the club. It is something that has not been done in the past couple of years, to have developing young players and to sell them for better prices. We need to get a better trading model. Now, there's a lot of interesting things to pull out of this statement by Phillipe Clement. I think it's kind of reassures perhaps those fans that were worried about just young kids coming in. Now, in terms of the opening statement, obviously he said that it was easier to get the young players in now, which I think we all knew in the run-up to the Euros. Clubs really aren't doing business with their experienced, talented talent. They're just not moving them on because at the end of the day, clubs want to be sure that they can bring in replacements. A lot of those replacements are with their national teams. When a player is with his national team, they cannot be approached and have conversations about transfers or negotiations or wages, etc., etc. So look, that's to be understood. And it's like I said in a number of videos, I think the experienced players, the more seasoned pros will come once the Euros is done and dusted. So, Clement kind of echoed that, didn't he, in saying that there will obviously be players coming in once the Euros is over and a bit further down the line in this transfer window. I think it was just that a lot of people kind of took it at the start of pre-season and took that kind of a literal comment, meaning literally at the start of pre-season training. But I think there's some good comment there in terms of the fact that a lot of those young players that have been brought in will play some minutes, and more, I suppose, as the time goes on. Now, I think whilst Connor Barron and Oscar Cortez will be available, I think, to play whole games, given obviously Cortez did it last season. Barron's done it for Aberdeen. I think there's a lot of the other lads, Igman, and Ciala, for example. Jeff Tefte will play parts of games, will be rotated in and out, will come off the bench, will make appearances that way. I don't see them playing a great deal of minutes or starting a number of games. I still think Danilo perhaps is the number one option in terms of striker, Ridvan number one option in terms of left back at this moment in time. So look, realistically, that's where we're going to go. Centre-backs. Look, I don't know what's going on with centre-backs. We do need to buy centre-backs. I think there's a real need to go out there and get a couple of centre-backs, experienced centre-backs, and hopefully that will come now. I think it's time to move Goldson on. I think he's sort of come to the end of his usefulness in terms of the fact that, he is slowing down. He's made a lot of the same types of mistakes last season, and his form, as he gets older, has dropped off a lot since 55. So look, that's just, I think, you see games, you see that his form's perhaps not there. The fact he was left out of the team, I think, at the end of the season. I know he was injured towards the end of the season, but the fact that he was, in fact, dropped by Clement near the end of the season. And I think Clement's right. It is a need to bring these young players in, to have investments, to have players that can be flipped for a number of, for a great deal of cash in the future. This is what the trading model is about. It's not just about having experienced players, which obviously is part of it. You can't just have kids. You will win nothing with just kids. Before anybody quotes me, the Man United 99 example, they had an experienced core to that team, like Roy Keane, etc., etc. So look, you can't win anything with just kids. So it's reassuring, obviously, that that the trading model wants to be set up, that we do need players, assets we can sell. By selling those assets, we raise money. By raising that money, we can buy new young players, more experienced players, and have a good blend in the squad. So I think it's very reassuring to hear this from our manager, from Phillipe Clement, that this is the case. This is how it's going to work out. And the club has obviously got a clear vision going forward for the rest of this window. Actually, we'll look into it a bit more, obviously, in tomorrow's video. Thank you for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation, guys. Please, obviously, smash that sub. Help us to keep on growing. And as always, on the way out, 2 things you can do for me. Number 1, smash that like. And number 2, remember always, we are the people.